Shalom Aleichem. The Dvar Torah today should be Lili Nishmas Chana Henshel Bas David, my mother, Aleh Shalom. I really want to thank Zach Frisch for putting together these Divrei Torah, and I really have tremendous hakaras hatov to him for all that he's doing for the yeshiva. We are about to have Parshat Zachor and then Purim, and we are just astounded by the hatred that Amalek has for Am Yisrael. Amalek might represent different hashkafos, and they have a war against the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Milchama Lashem ba'Amalek midor dor. But what they hate is the Jew. The Jew is the representative of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world, and they want to destroy the Jew. It's not the Jewish religion. It's not what the Jew represents. It's not the Jew's hashkafa. It is the Jew himself. The very existence of the Jew is what bothers Amalek. And that's why Amalek, very irrationally, after Kriyas Yamsuf, fights against Am Yisrael. We were untouchable. The mashal that Chazal bring about the bathtub that's scalding hot, and that all of a sudden Amalek decides to go into the scalding hot water, shows that Amalek is without thinking, just blind hatred. And that's what we see in the Megillah too. Seeing Haman's hatred of the Jewish people, where Mordechai doesn't bow down to him and then says, now let's commit genocide and kill all of the Jewish people. It's completely irrational. What bothers Amalek is the very existence of the Jewish people. And it was a terribly dire situation during the Megillah. There's actually a pasuk that there's a Rosh Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, his name is Rav Ehud Krakover, and he wrote one of these pamphlets that you find in Eretz Yisrael before Shabbos or before a Chag. And I was reading it, and he made a diuk in Megillas Esther, which I thought was really profound. When the Gzeira came out, and everybody's crying, it says in the Megillah, "Ubechol medina u'medina mekom asher dvar hamelech v'dato magia, Evel gadol haYehudim." There was an Evel. Evel is a very strange word here. Evel means mourning. Evel means avelus. It was troublesome. It was very dire. It was very difficult. But why should we use the lashon of Avel, Avelus? Avelus is after the fact. Avelus is when a person already loses a loved one, when there's already death. Why the lashon of Avel? It's very clear that the Jews at the time thought, this is it. We are going to be decimated. There's going to be no more Jewish people at all. And they felt as if it's already done. The same way that the Nazim Yimach Shemam, they were planning on building, on creating museums. They'll show a talus, they'll show a pair of tefillin and saying, this prehistoric nation has all of these artifacts. They were already planning the aftermath of the decimation of an entire people. Evel Gadol HaYehudim means that Klal Yisrael at the time thought, that's it, it's over, the Jewish people are going to be finished. And what Purim represents, and our victory over Amalek represents, is the fact that we celebrate our Jewish survival. Not hashkafos, not what we represent, but the etzem, the Jew. We celebrate our Jewish survival. It's fascinating on Purim. There isn't that much there isn't much else to celebrate. There's no redemption. We don't come back to Eretz Yisrael. We don't dedicate the Beis HaMikdash like on Hanukkah. We're not on our march here to the Geula. We stayed in Shushan. We were still beholden. Esther stayed in the palace under Achashverosh's domain. So what are we celebrating? We're celebrating Jewish survival. We're celebrating the very existence of the Jew, which is why in the Sfas Emes, he points out that in Megillas Esther, the term for a Jew is so much different than everywhere else in Tanakh. It doesn't say Yisrael, it says Yehudi. What's the difference between Yisrael and Yehudi? Yisrael, we were given that name because Kisarita im Elokim batuchal, because we have a purpose, that we can face challenges, that we are like a sar, that we have a purpose in this world. Not so in the Purim, not so in Megillah. Here we don't celebrate the fact of what we represent and our purpose. We celebrate the etzem guf HaYehudi, the fact that we exist, the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we as Am Hashem, we are banim lamakom, and that we exist. We celebrate our Jewish survival. This is clearly one of the beautiful perushim of Chayiv Inish L'Vsume B'Puria Ad Lo Yada, as the Maral explains, that How can we drink until we lose our das? Das is everything, knowledge, understanding, Talmud Torah. How can we celebrate without the das? And the answer is exactly this. What we are celebrating is the Jewish survival. We're celebrating the guf. What the anti-Semites teach us is it's not about our hashkafos. It's not what we represent. Anti-Semitism throughout history has always taught us it doesn't matter how firm you are, what type of firmkeit you are. It doesn't matter whether you isolate from the people that you're around, from society that you're around, or whether you try to integrate. No matter what, every possibility has the opposite svara at a different time in history, and the opposite logic at a different time in history. So no matter what, from the anti-Semites we can learn a valuable lesson. It's the etzem Jew. It's being a Jew that is so crucial, that is so important. And what we celebrate on Purim, we're mishachrer our das. We release all of our logic and thinking until we just celebrate the guf hayehudi, the idea of celebrating our actual existence, celebrating from the brink of Avelus, from the brink of death, from the brink of the decimation of the Jewish people, to the very existence of the Jewish people and Jewish survival throughout our millennia. And that's what we're celebrating on Purim. That's something that's everlasting. That's something that we can, of course, celebrate whether we're in Eretz Yisrael or whether we're in Galus, even still in Galus. But we can celebrate the fact that the Jews have continued to survive.